Hello, I'm Jessica Rivera with your latest news break. In New York, a pop-up COVID vaccination site in Times Square gave almost 900 people expired Pfizer shots. The shots were given between June 5th and June 10th, and all the people who received them are being told they will need another shot to make sure they are vaccinated. Also in New York, Brooklyn detectives raised enough money to send a 9-year-old girl to Disney World after she was found hiding in a closet as her father killed her mother and 2 sisters April 5th, which was her birthday. And in Texas, a woman is dead and a man is missing after rescuing 2 kids from a popular swimming and tubing spot. The woman's body was found down the river a few miles. And that's your latest news break. Now back to America's Voice Live.
And thank you for the update, Jessica. President Biden's first foreign trip coming to an end now. Tomorrow he'll meet with Vladimir Putin, then head back to the United States after a long week of meeting with world leaders, one of those being the Queen of England.
That's right. And when meeting the Queen, royal etiquette is traditionally followed. That includes bowing or curtsying to the Queen. Neither President Biden nor First Lady Jill Biden adhered to those traditional guidelines, and instead, the Bidens shook the Queen's hand. President Biden also wore sunglasses to the private tea, another possible breach of official royal protocol. Joining our panel today to talk more about Biden's foreign faux pas, founder of Patriot Academy, Rick Green, retired New Jersey police officer Steve Rogers, and president of the New York Young Republicans Club, Gavin Wax. Welcome to the panel, everyone. I want to say, after meeting with the Queen, President Biden said they had a great talk and that the Queen asked him about Russian President Vladimir Putin and Chinese President Xi Jinping, again revealing private details of a conversation with the Queen is typically not done. Rick, I want to go to you. Is this just because they're doing their own thing over there, or is this an example of how unprepared this administration is in many different areas, especially foreign policy?
Yeah, you know, I never would have made it at the State Department because I don't get too hung up on those little things, but I know they are important, and I know they're important to the State Department for sure. If this was President Trump or a Republican president, oh my goodness, the faux pas would be on all the news. They would be talking about the horrible preparation, the terrible respect that the president has. Yet because it's Biden, we're going to give him a pass as the crazy old uncle that just can't remember any of these things. So, you know, look, Biden himself would have chastised other presidents for this type of thing years ago. He just continues to be an embarrassment for us.
You know, the other concern that I have is the ongoing verbal abuse of the former president and administration. It seems the Democrats just cannot get over their obsession of Donald Trump. Gavin, I'll have you weigh in here, but generally, when you go overseas, you don't trash talk the other team in American politics. That's been tradition for decades. That's out the door, too, I guess.
Yeah, it appears that the Biden admin loves breaking both British and American traditions when it comes to these official state visits. But what else is he going to talk about when he goes overseas? He has no real record to stand on of his own. The economy is falling apart. He's become an embarrassment on the international stage. So, of course, he's going to go to Europe and he's going to bash Trump. That's the only thing that they may be well received over there, of course, because many of them had their own gripes with President Trump and his America First agenda. But also call me a conspiracy theorist, because I think a lot of these snubs at the Queen were intentional. Biden has a long history of attacking the UK. He likes to, basically frame himself as this kind of Irish American nationalist type of guy. So maybe I'm a conspiracy theorist. Maybe I'm shooting above my weight class here. But I think some of these snubs between the sunglasses and shaking her hand were all intentional snubs, and it wouldn't be out of character for Biden.
All right, Steve Rogers, I want to go to you. We've had a lot of people say they question the president's health, question perhaps dementia, and in many instances, he has seemed to be caught in the past. A few days ago, he referred to Syria as Libya 3 times. Now, you will remember the Libya situation and President Obama saying that that was his biggest regret from office after the aftermath of the Libya situation and how Libya went on after the takedown there. Why is the vice president referring to Syria as Libya? Is this a question of his mental health once again?
Well, look, I'm not a psychologist, but I can tell you I think it's worse than that. I really believe, because I see a pattern beginning to develop with not just with him, but with the administration, of something Ronald Reagan warned about us years ago. And that was the influence of the Communist Party. Of course, in Reagan's day, it was the Soviet Communist Party, but we have a real problem with the Chinese Communist Party and socialists across this country. Look, it's not a secret that there is a lot of pressure coming down on Biden administration from progressives and from socialists. So this guy's probably so wound up, he doesn't know which way to go, which way to turn. He just doesn't know what he's saying. Why? Because the interest of the United States is not in his mind. What's in his mind is his political survival.
Yeah, I want to switch gears now because there's another story out there that if it had happened to the previous administration, to the previous president, I think it would be wall-to-wall coverage 24 hours a day. And that is Hunter Biden's prolific use of the N-word in some conversations he had online, emails back and forth with his white attorney, where Hunter continues to use the N-word, talking to his attorney. Now more coming out about the president's son today. It appears as though Hunter described the mother of his child as a basketball mentor in order to skirt around security and rules about visitors and a whole lot more. It just seems that, Rick, we just continue to make excuses and change the rules for the Bidens. Again, any of these things that they've been done by Donald Trump or the Trump family or the Trump children, it would be wall-to-wall coverage. Don Lemon would be screaming. They'd all be screaming over there, but they're not, are they?
It wouldn't even have to be a Trump child. It could be someone that Trump went to school with, someone that Trump happened to be in the same room with for 5 minutes, and we would find a way to blame Donald Trump for it. It's ridiculous. The double standard, of course, is incredibly high. And the worst part here is that this is not some estranged person in Joe Biden's life. I mean, this is someone that Joe Biden, while in office, was facilitating and helping to do the things that he was doing, and the pass that he's given. You know, we all saw the Zogby poll yesterday. 60% of the country says that the media has given this guy too much of a pass, asking about which ice cream he got and all these silly questions that we're asking. We need the rough and tumble of an aggressive press. I don't care if it's a Republican or Democrat president, conservative or liberal. We need a press that is willing to push them hard. That makes us better. That's competition. That causes us all to rise to the occasion, and none of that is happening to this president or the vice president for that matter. And as a country, we need that. So, thank God for your network and for other conservative media that's stepping up to do that. But for the left and most journalism today and most of the media today, journalism has died on the left.
Gavin, I want to go to you because as a young person, you have a unique perspective on this. I've heard so many people in your generation come to me and say, hey, President Biden promised this, this, and this, and he hasn't come through on that. And I suspect it has something to do with having watched the Trump administration make promises and keep promises. But one of the things that Joe Biden ran on was family values. Now you see that it's not just that he was sneaking this woman into closed doors and calling her a basketball coach, but you'll remember that he denied knowing her, he denied his own child, and neither he nor his father have ever met this little girl. And this is a man who ran on family values. So why are we not hearing more people say, wait a minute, this is the opposite of promises made, promises kept, and this is actually complete hypocrisy, which we are seeing across the country right now with Democrat governors. They're getting hammered on it. Why isn't he?
No, it's a fantastic question. We're starting to see trends towards the right, particularly for Gen Z, or the Zoomers as they're called, who do not use legacy media as their main source of information. So they're not susceptible to mainstream lies and propaganda, which is basically covering up for the Biden administration. And they're seeing through this hypocrisy, they're seeing through these lies, and they're basically in a position now where they're going to be a lost generation economically because of the policies of the Democrats, of the DNC, of Biden. They have less work opportunities. They're making less money than their parents or grandparents. They have a harder time being able to get their own home. All this is going to come home to roost for the Democrats and for Biden, as many of these younger folks grow up in this administration of stagflation, of economic woes, and of double standards, and they're going to get sick of it. And I think they're a lot more in tune with what's going on politically than maybe some older generations like to admit. So I think it's going to be some interesting trends for the youth vote going forward, and if Republicans can capitalize on it, it'll pay dividends in the long term.
And Steve, I want to come to you to bring us home. I mean, to me, a big part of this is it just smacks of a dishonest media. The media was dishonest. We've seen story after story debunked about Donald Trump, whether it was at Lafayette Square, the Russian dossier. I can go down the list for the next 25 minutes and give you stories that were above the fold in the New York Times or at MSNBC or CNN that proved to be completely false, no basis in reality. And we've got Hunter Biden's laptop. Here are the facts. Here are the photographs. Here are the emails. And we can't get them to say a peep about much of anything. It's embarrassing, isn't it?
Well, the facts are this. The media, the mainstream media, has become a propaganda machine for the left. And again, for an agenda that is not healthy for America. And just to reiterate what one of the prior guests said, I thank God for people like you. I mean, look, we're talking about the survival of our country. At least there are media outlets like yours that are willing to step up and bring facts and challenge what is false. So, look, journalism died in America, with the exception of a few of you that are still on there fighting the fight of faith. But I have hope, as Gavin said, I have a lot of hope. Ronald Reagan called us the shining city upon a hill. We are. That bright continues to shine so long as we have media outlets like yours and others like Gavin and your other guests who are willing to step up, stand up, and speak out. So I'd like to end my part of this saying we got a lot of hope because we still have a lot of great Americans willing to stand up and speak out.
I love that. Steve Rogers, Rick Green, Gavin Wax, thank you so much for being on our panel today. It's always great to have your voices here with us. Everyone else, stay tuned. We've got more coming up after the break.